I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to the Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. And today, we're very pleased to be talking with Robby Grant, Executive Director of WYXR. So stay with us for a conversation with Robby. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Partly we're here because we're here on video.
Yes.
And we've been easing our way into all this video stuff, and I mentioned this to you, and you said, I want to see your video setup. And I said, well, come be a guest.
Yeah.
And now you can see it in action.
And you're on our board, and I can't say no. So I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I love talking with you, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So let's do the thing. I mean, this airs on WYXR, and I think people listening to WYXR know what WYXR is, but it also goes on our feed, and I'll write a little story on it for Daily Memphian. And so for people who don't know what WYXR is, how do you describe it?
WYXR is a nonprofit, free-form community radio station, and so that's the core of what we do. We have 100-plus volunteer DJs playing whatever they want, but all different types of genres. But then on top of that, we consider ourselves an arts and culture organization too, centered around music, and we do events uplifting legacy forgotten musicians and brand new musicians out there. So really our core mission is building community through music and arts.
And it's obviously based in Memphis.
Yes.
And a lot of the Dowd Awards, which we'll talk about in a minute,
Sure.
that just happened. I mean, that's very focused on Memphis and Memphis music. But the whole thing of it is a mix, which I think is really deft and great.
Mm-hmm.
That it's grounded in Memphis, but it's not kitschy. It's not going to just be Memphis music or just be Memphis artists at some of the live events. There's this really great balance that you and JB and others have found.
Yeah, I mean, JB, our co-founder, and he's incredible. We when we set out to do this, we weren't playing all Memphis music. I mean, it's really about bringing the Memphis people in to curate that. And I mean, the truth is, Memphis music is permeated all throughout the globe, so it's like anything we're playing has probably been touched by or affected by that in some way, shape, or form. But we want to give voice to people, have their hour-long, 2-hour-long show, and then overnight we're live about anywhere from 12 to 18 hours a day. But those hours that we're not, we do have Memphis music, and it's like the deep stuff. Like a lot of it's like stuff you've never heard. And I mean, 5-6 years in, I still hear things in our automation that JB's put in there. I'm like, I've never heard this before. So it's pretty incredible, the overnight stuff too.
That is incredible. It's up to 18 hours of live. And that's really essentially all volunteers. You're not a volunteer. JB's not a volunteer, and you're on the radio.
Volunteer-led is what we say.
Volunteer-led, yeah. But primarily volunteer. So 100-something?
Yeah, 100-plus volunteers. I say, probably, 20 to 30 of them do it remote or do it pre-record with they have issues they can't get in or whatever.
They have their own beautiful studio.
Right, they have their own studio that can do it. But yeah, for the most part, most people are in and out of that live studio right there in Crosstown, 20, anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a day, or people are in the studio.
We've done shows, mostly during Pledge.
Yeah.
We've done them live. Natalie, who's sitting over here producing this thing, and Jennifer Biggs and I did a number, so that was super fun.
Yeah, she was
Makes
great.
me sad.
Yeah.
It's fun to do it live. It's fun to be in there. There was the great one where we were with Jennifer. Do you remember this, Natalie? And we were talking about Chris Harrington would do these shows. The four of us would do shows together a lot of the time. And we were talking about, well, Chris couldn't be here. He's on his way to like a Grizzlies game or whatever. And the studio, if people haven't been there, it's glass looking out in the atrium. And Chris wanders by just on his way to get a coffee.
Yeah, he was working, and that's what's great about Crosstown. You're like, you can compartmentalize the things that are there. So it's so big.
Idea what was happening over. That was a great Chris moment. Volunteer-led, volunteer DJs, also podcasts.
Yes.
So there's a certain amount, and that was always a commitment, not just for the podcast. This and Sound Bites that Holly Whitfield does, the food podcast that airs right before this on WYXR, and Spot News and news briefs that Natalie and other staff put together.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of organizations. How's that evolved over 6 years now?
Yeah, it's a constant. We're all constantly evolving with it. But New Memphis has been a great partner since the very beginning, and they're actually the ones that said, "Oh, you should go check out the Daily Memphian."
Oh, that's right, because we just had
and they've had Meanwhile in Memphis on since day one. And so they're in the podcast suite. Real Talk with Chip Washington. Yeah. He's been on since the very beginning as well. And his is live. I mean, he comes in the studio.
Live. I've done it live with him.
Every Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. and he does 3 guests, and I mean he really works hard. I mean he's an incredible volunteer and does an incredible service, I think, for Memphis. But we've expanded it to include a lot of University of Memphis professors. So Hamlet Dobbins, he's an art professor, not history, art professor at University of Memphis. I've been seeing him in the Memphis Listening Lab. He's in there using their studio. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like for over the last 3 years. And he was just bringing every single artist that he knew in Memphis and just letting them talk for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Wow. And so he has amassed probably 100 interviews, and I don't even think he's editing them that much. And so he's got a podcast, but I'm like, we can pull a lot of these into our suite. So we pulled that one into our suite, and it's been great. We've got
by suite, you mean the overnight stuff?
When I say suite, I refer to it as a podcast suite.
Okay. There we go.
And so like, just like in our, so some of them we host and we control. Some of them we just aggregate, like Daily Memphian is in there, but you're also in yours. And we've got Dr. Lisa Beasley. She's with the University of Tennessee Health and Science.
Yeah, we had her on.
Yeah,
we've had we've had most of these.
Well,
folks
y'all
on.
have asked me who should I have on. I'm like, they're all great. And so we focus on music. Definitely on air, it's mostly almost all music. I mean, Real Talk and New Memphis aside. Yeah. But in our podcast suite, we can stretch out a bit and we can do some more stuff. So
I always have to say, when Hamlet, who I met a little bit, Leslie has known him for a long time. My girlfriend has known him for a long time, and they're kind of casual friends and all that kind of in the neighborhood. And so we have two, and she loves, and I now love his work. So we have these 2 paintings that we bought. Some of his paintings are not in my budget, but these were good. They were good Christmas gifts that we did. And he got word, I guess through David Lusk is where he's representative, that we bought it. Yeah. And the coolest thing that we have, I swear to God, is this handwritten 5x7, 4x6 note card that he sent to us, that he drew out the entire front. Thank you. And this, I should get a picture or something. It's so cool. Yeah. And the art is really cool. The paintings that he spent all this time on, this handwritten note that he probably spent, 5 minutes on, is just the coolest thing.
Yeah, well, his partner is Mellow. He does this Mellow Mountain Coalition partnership with Tad Lorenzen Wright, and similar with Tad, like his stuff is amazing. But he sent an invite to a show, and we framed it because it was so cool. I was like,
yeah, right,
cool.
Wow. Again, we're here with Robby Grant. He's the executive director, and what did you say, de facto station manager?
Yeah,
that sounds very buratocratic for such a small organization.
Well, before we started, you're like, it seems like you do more than executive director.
I did.
Like,
I know it does seem more.
And I was like, well, that's kind of like a lot. But we're a small team. I mean, we've got 4 full time and 1 part time, and I am the station manager, so I'm the most. My background was technical, so I'm doing a lot of the technical stuff. I have an engineer, so along with all the other things that executive directors do, I'm also like managing a lot of the processes and equipment and stuff like that.
No, I can say it because I am a board member, and we're Daily Memphian is one of the founding partners with U of M and with Crosstown Arts or Crosstown Partnership, whichever side of it is. You are remarkable at this job. You really are. This is your annual review from the board. No,
okay,
but you really are, because you're on it. I mean, people who would know you, and a lot of people know you as a musician, now know you maybe through WYXR or increasingly through WYXR, and you're a music guy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you manage things well, but you do. Like am I still the treasurer? I think I'm the treasurer.
Yeah, you are.
So we go through the financial stuff.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, you're on it. You're on it down. Yeah. And you're like, well, I think I'm $2 off on that. And I'm like, I think that's going to be okay. But let's figure out where the $2.
Well, I absolutely, I'm lucky to have this job, and I love the work that we're doing. Yeah. So to be able to bring all these people together around music. I mean, it mixes everything I love: Memphis, music, community, and just. Anyway. So I'm honored to have the job. So I love to work hard at it.
You know the story, but I tell it sometimes of when I think I can tell all of it. Maybe I've told it all, but the former president of U of M, David Rudd, called Andy Cates, my friend, board chair, one of the co-founders of Daily Memphian, and he said, "Hey, I want to talk about this radio station we got." And we go to breakfast in the old the Holiday Inn across, on the U of M campus. And we were down there with a bunch of people who I didn't know. And oddly, I don't know what happened, but they never introduced. I just knew David Rudd. Mm-hmm. And everyone's kind of chatting and whatever. And we're eating our eggs and drinking our coffee. And it was very early in the morning. I do remember that. And David Rudd goes, okay, here's the deal, guys. We got this radio station. We don't really know what we want to do with it. We could probably just let the lease expire. We could give it to you, or we don't know what. So do you guys want it?
You never told me that part of the story.
Yeah, that was basically it.
Yeah.
I mean, and Andy said later, he goes, I was very proud that you, Eric, didn't leap over the table and say, Yes, absolutely, 100%. We needed to sort of stop and think, and he and I did our thing where we go out to the car and talk for a bunch in the parking lot, and then we get on the phone where we're driving to 2 different meetings. And it was, the great thing is we wanted a radio station, but we also were like, I mean, we were 2 years old then. Yeah. Were we going into COVID, or we were going into COVID?
We were going into it during the planning.
Yes. And so, but then Crosstown got involved, and then you got involved as a consultant, and then to have Todd Richardson from, the president of Crosstown and other folks from Crosstown, and then instill this great partnership with U of M. It all came from that breakfast meeting, and we play a nice but very small part in it, but I'm very proud that we were, because they kind of did ponder shutting the whole thing down.
They had a lot of different options, and so for University of Memphis to kind of step up and see that they could get further out into the community with this is great.
Yeah.
So,
Let me do some housekeeping. I'll come back and talk a little bit more about the U of M partnership and some of the ways that they're involved. But again, we're here with Robby Grant, Executive Director of WYXR, and I am Eric Barnes. This is The Sidebar. It airs every Thursday at 11:30 on WYXR 91.7. It's a podcast on the WYXR feed. It's also a podcast over on Daily Memphian. It's on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. It's now in video as we ease all. Hello. I know. I successfully forget that I'm on camera. I feel like I want to just stare into the camera and talk like this because it's so. Anyway, the camera thing. Even though I've done behind the headlines for 17 years now. Where was I? Natalie, where am I in this? Don't check any of this out because it's video. It's really hard to edit, so everyone's just going to have to put up with me getting off script. It is one of all our podcasts are going to video here over the coming weeks. The Memphis Grizzlies podcast with Drew and Chris is already doing video. We've started video on Soundbites, I mentioned earlier, with Holly Whitfield, and she's talking to various food people from around the city. And we'll soon be making AMDM, our 5-day-a-week morning podcast with Mary Casciola, also featuring Natalie Van Gundy and other staff members. That'll be going to video here pretty soon. And we hope to be launching another, I will go ahead and say, Jeff Calkins hosted weekly podcast here pretty soon in the coming months. Why? I can say that. I'm the CEO. I mean, come on, fire me, please. I have no problem with that. You have no problem with that? Okay, Robby has no problem with that.
I have no power.
Natalie didn't want to mention that. So, but again, all the podcasts are still on all the podcast feeds. They are now also on YouTube as video and on the website. Robby mentioned WYXR. It is a nonprofit, so if you're not a supporter, do consider becoming one. Become a member. You get all kinds of benefits. I should give you a quiz, like of every benefit at every tier. No. There's a bunch of benefits, or you can do a one-off donation. That is what supports WYXR. It's totally free. Ton of volunteers and supporters, donations from people like those listening right now. Also, the Daily Memphian. Memphian. If you're not a paid subscriber to the Daily Memphian, consider becoming one. That covers about 50% of what we do. The largest newsroom in the region. About 40 full-time staff just in the newsroom, and another 15 or so contractors. Then another 25% is covered by advertising and sponsorships and events, and then about 25% or $1.5 million a year is covered by donations. So consider donating to the Daily Memphian if you can. We recently had John Zena on the show. He is the outgoing chief of infrastructure and development for the city. He's been involved with city planning here in Memphis and Shelby County for over a decade. Talking about the book he just wrote. It was a great, wonky, wonderful conversation with John. We also talked to folks from Gross River Brewery about changes, like moving off of Beale Street and kind of investing in their brewery. It was a great conversation about beer and the economics of beer, and just, I don't know, it's really interesting what they're trying to do down there. Coming up, I mentioned behind the headlines, I think. We recently had John DeBerry, Republican candidate for county mayor. We had Anthony Buckner, the Democratic candidate for sheriff. And coming up, next week, we've got Mikkel Lowry. He is the Democratic candidate for county mayor. And we also have Brad Less, the Republican candidate for sheriff, coming up. And we did an election show. We'll be doing a lot about the elections as we keep moving through all of the various stages of elections here in Memphis. But we are here with Robby. I mentioned U of M. Talk about some of the ways U of M is involved.
Sure. We've got an internship program. So we do 2 interns in the summer, 2 interns in the fall that are almost always University of Memphis students. And they spend about 150 hours a week with us and we're a radio station, so people are like, oh, I'm on air, and that's like a small piece of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing
Natalie, you got to laugh from Natalie Van Gundy, producer over here, giggling hysterically. You just turn the mic on and everything happens.
Yeah, but I mean, we do social media, helping with programming, helping with fundraising, helping with all kinds of putting furniture together. It's a little bit of everything. And we've got we've got a really good tight connection with the CCFA. So we're the communication, the University of Memphis College of Communication and Fine Arts.
Okay, yes.
And so the journalism department, we've got a U of M hour that's every week, and the kids do pieces for that, and then we go on campus and talk to the kids, and they can come. Yeah. Some of them come in and come to the studio as well. So
I don't know if it's my age. We've really expanded our internship program at Daily Memphian over the last 2 years. I mean, we had interns our first year. We really weren't prepared because we were just barely getting things off the ground. Then we stopped during COVID, and then we kind of eased back into it. But we've really, El Perry, who does a ton of stuff for us, really runs that program, but other people, Mary Casciola. So we'll have, I don't know, maybe almost 10 interns a year at various points. But it's really cool.
Yeah.
And for us, everyone's like, journalism's dying, newspapers are dying and all that. We've got all these kids, and they're younger than our kids. Our kids are roughly the same age. I'm shocked. I'm talking to them like, how can you be, you're 22 years old, but, this is happening. But they love journalism, and they want to get into this. And I think it's got to be a similar feeling with U of M interns. Like, radio's not dying. I mean, none of this is dying. It's just changing.
Yeah, and, with radio being an older medium, but I think we can talk about why I think it's it's coming back even harder. But, I thought, these kids don't care about being on air, but we would have them do a bunch of other stuff. But as we were doing exit interviews, they're like, I didn't get to do much on air. So now we make sure that these interns have a show or help us with the morning. We do a morning show, and it's awesome to hear. Like you can hear their voice. Their inner voice change from that first week to the last week because they just get confident. I mean, this. I mean, the more you talk on a mic, the more you don't even see the mic. So.
No, there's a reason I will never watch the first season of Behind the Headlines because like Natalie tormented me. That's basically. I literally look like a high school intern. I've got like an ill-fitting jacket on. My hair is still brown, and I'm just talking, and I'm kind of staring way too hard into the camera, and I was 40, so I was like 41. I look like a college intern. I mean, and I don't like to watch any of that. Well, talk about radio. You just tease that. Because people have been calling for the death of radio for a while, in the same way they've been calling for the death of local newspapers. And I think of us as a newspaper, even though we don't have print. But talk about radio.
Yeah, I mean, it's never going to be back in its heyday like it was in the 70s or 80s or even 90s. But for us, it's you've got all these. We talk about AI a lot, and I use it a lot in a business context. But we have a policy; we don't touch it, as from the creative side of things, and including curation. So I think like there's a need and a want to have this human connection. Like you go to the movies, you're sitting in a movie theater with all these other people and you experience something together. Yeah. I mean, it's similar on the radio. I mean, it's you're listening to something that is getting broadcast to, thousands of people out there. And there's just a feeling of like community there that you do not get with the algorithms and with, staring, everyone's staring at their phone, which guilty as charged as well. But, that aspect of it is, I think, people are going to come hard the other way, I think.
Yeah. So. And you and I have talked before about the algorithms on a music streaming that, I mean, I use them a bit. To find new music, but I don't know. It just doesn't work for me, really. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, it goes on these tangents of the kind of music I like, which in some cases stereotypical, in some cases kind of weird, and it makes these cognitive leaps that I'm like, no, that's actually the exact opposite of what I want to be listening to. Yeah. And so anyway, I like the human connection of WYXR. And again, it's not just radio, right? I mean, it's obviously it's streaming on all the various services. It's our archives of the shows, music and talk on the website. I mean, there's all these different ways people can access.
All of our shows have 4 weeks of access. Our app does that. And I mean, on the back end too, sometimes you'll hear repeats on on the station because someone can't be there. We've recorded every single hour of everyone talking for the last or playing music for the last 5 years. It's in a deep Amazon AWS cloud thing, and so which is awesome. I mean, we're actually also archiving and capturing these voices. Some DJs have even passed on. We've got those, and so it's an incredible thing that at some point that'll be a project in a few years. Like, how can we kind of harness all that and pull the stories out of that?
Something for the interns.
Yeah, something for the interns. That's good. I have thought about that. I think this is like a year project, so we're going to have to get a year intern.
There's probably, we can talk later, there's probably funding for some of that stuff.
And that's kind of what I'm waiting
notion
for.
of archiving of, I mean, there's definitely big foundations out there going, there's a big effort on, we just wrote a story about a group that's trying to archive photos from newspapers. They're a Memphis-based company. They're doing it as a for-profit. But there's that whole idea of archiving. Like, there's a great story. I was watching this History of Monty Python. It's not a great documentary, honestly. It's way too long. Like, we kind of lost steam. But one thing is the entire first season of Monty Python on the BBC is lost. Because they taped over it. They didn't have the budget for new tape. And they were like, I don't know, this is just this kind of silly show we've got on the BBC.
Yeah.
So all of it was taped over for like other shows.
That's crazy.
And then somehow they were just successful enough that they had the budget to keep the tapes for the second and beyond of Monty Python, for God's sakes. It's crazy.
Well, and I do want to shout out our volunteer archivist, Frank Campagna. He's been awesome and been there since the beginning and helped make sure the shows are getting archived. Total volunteer. So shout out to Frank. So.
I talked about funding. We worked, and I say we very loosely, as a board member, you and others worked really hard to get us into the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and we got in there just in time to have the funding cut by the federal government. Yeah. I mean, what does that mean?
Well, it meant, it was, to me, that was a goal. Like, the goal was start the station, and we got it running. And the second goal, really big goal for us, was get Corporation for Public Broadcasting funding. So, no one can take away the fact that we got it, and that was a big stamp of approval from, it's really hard to get that money and get it sustainable. So I'll walk away still positive from it, I got it. But it was going to be yearly. It was renewable. I mean, we have to obviously provide some numbers and stuff, but it started at like $85,000 a year, and it could go up to
which is a significant part of the budget. I mean, it's all public. The budget is under $1 million. So,
right.
I mean, that's It was over 10% of the budget.
Right. And you could use it for almost anything, not just anything, but almost anything. So, we were, the other lucky part for us is we had just got it, but. We need to grow. We want to let more people know about it. We had to put some future plans on hold. So we're making up for it. I mean, we're still haven't completely filled in. So we're going to do probably an emergency. We'll call it an emergency. We'll do a third fund drive, which here probably in the summer sometime. So it sucked, but we're resilient. We'll get through it. So.
Talk about some of the events. You touched on them earlier. I mentioned Dowd Awards that just happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my co-founder, Jared Boyd, former Daily Memphian reporter, created the Dowd Awards, named after Nathaniel Dowd Williams, who was a WDIA DJ. So he was involved in the music industry, music business, but also gave a lot back to his community. So JB wanted to create an award that melded music and this community service piece for the Black community in town. So this is I think it was our fourth year, and it's just amazing. We're giving awards to a lot of people that have never received awards.
Yeah.
And we did this last month at the Civil Rights Museum. They were a great partner, and just the stories that people get up and tell. Earl Randall, guitar player, he wrote Tear Your Playhouse Down, a ton of hits with Willie Mitchell in his studio. And he hasn't received a lot of awards. Right. And he got on stage and he took it in his acceptance speech. JB, he said, Earl did, oh, the Wu-Tang Clan have sampled one of my songs, which is Cash Rules Everything Around Me. And then JB was like, he sat down, JB's like, actually, I did some research. The Wu-Tang, your Wu-Tang Clan sampled 20 of your songs.
Wow.
And so like these kind of stories that you don't know, and just like the accolades that these people get. So that's been incredible. It's really mission focused for us. It's not
JB wrote a great column for us in Daily Memphian. People can go search for Dowd Awards or Jared Boyd that kind of walk through the people who are being honored and why and all that. that.
Yeah, so look for that next
yeah.
year. We'll bring
Yeah.
that back in June with
Yeah.
the Civil Rights Museum, hopefully. So
stereo sessions.
stereo sessions, do those. There's 6 of those a year. We do a season, 1 a month. We do them the second Wednesday, April through September. So that's at the Memphis Listening Lab. We listen to one. I put Lost in quotes. I mean, a lot of Memphis, some people from Memphis would know these, but most people don't know these records, these whole records. So we bring someone in to talk about it, sometimes the artist. So last month we had the Scruffs, which is like a power pop band. They were supposed to open up for the Sex Pistols when they were here. That didn't work out.
Wow.
But DJs Eric Plumley and Zach Ives interviewed the bass player who played on the records. He played with them, but he also teaches English at Christian Brothers. So it's like you bring these
so
people in, and we're going to do the Snow Globe, Our Land Brains record, which if you were around in the music scene in the '90s, you know that record, but a lot of people don't. And then we'll end in September with Quick, KWICK, which is an incredible funk record from the '80s.
And then the big Raised by Sound Festival, we can't announce anything on artists or stuff like that. But last year was, I'm just drawing a blank.
We did Kurt Vile solo.
Oh, God, yeah.
And Steve Malcolmus of Pavement solo.
Yeah. I have video of that I sent to my brother and a junior high buddy of mine and my brothers. And they were, what is that?
Yeah.
With Steve Malcolmus just playing solo guitar,
so
singing
cool.
they were
Yeah, and
blown away. They were like, that's happening, because I live in Crosstown. Like, that's happening downstairs right now.
in Memphis. Yeah. And they came together and covered an Oblivion song, which was a Memphis classic, which one of our DJs, Greg Cartwright, is a founding member and in the Oblivions. He couldn't make it that night. His wife was there, a board member, Esther, but so he missed it. So no, we can't announce it, but we're going to expand it. We're trying to make this satellite work, the new venue on the Friday night. Liv, our event lead, has been doing a great job kind of getting the acts together. So we're aiming to announce kind of early September. Yeah. Looking for sponsors. So if anyone's listening out there and wants to sponsor, it's a really great opportunity.
It's a great event. I mean, last year, Cat Power, the Spiritualized guys.
We did Big Star kind of
Big
early.
Star, that was
the first
so
one.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like one big signature thing, but then all day or half a day, and now more than potentially than
we did.
one day
the after parties, like the place to be at. We do that after the main thing.
Right.
Last year we had Cloudland Canyon and Larry Hurd. Year before that, the Black Keys came in and DJ'd. And they were like for almost nothing. So they love the station, and that's been awesome.
It's a great party.
Yeah.
Other stuff. I mean, back to what you said, we circle back and we'll wrap up here in a minute. Like, it is more than a radio station, right?
Yes.
I mean, the way that it sort of brings all this community together in music and talking, and then these events.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Yeah,
Anything
I mean,
else?
we're constantly looking to build out our programming on air. I mean, we've got the daylight hours are pretty full, but we've had a lot of interest in some of the overnight stuff. You can check out WYXR, the FAQs. There's some information on how to do that. JB's not your typical program manager at a radio station where he's like selecting which songs to play, sans overnight stuff, but he's more program managing the DJs and the personalities. So, we do a lot of it by feel, but Memphis is a feel thing. But there's a lot of good information on the website about that.
I should have done this sooner, but with the minute, what are you playing right now?
Oh.
I mean, you're a musician. You play in different things. You're doing music. I mean, what's going on?
I did a little EP under my own name last couple months ago. Been doing kind of messing around upstairs, and I put out a lot of solo records in the '90s and 2000s, just kind of home recorded stuff. Poppy stuff. But the big thing I've been doing is my wife and I have a band now.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
And
talk about this real quick.
It's called Dream Journal. Where I'm kind of doing loopy guitar stuff, and Rachel's reading from our dream journals.
Yeah.
I mean, not like random. I mean, we're kind of, each one is a real dream. But we just did an incredible show. There's a great a couple in town, Zach and Isabel Mitchell. They're associated with the First Congo. And they put on this ambient show that we were lucky to be a part of. And they had Infinity Mirrors, Foster Falls. They brought in Luke Schneider, who's an ambient pedal steel player from out of town. And it was just one of the coolest shows I've ever played.
Wow.
And it was incredible.
A lot of shows.
So hopefully we'll Dream Journal will be doing some more stuff and keep an eye on stuff there. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where can people go? Are you on Instagram? Do you put all your stuff on Instagram?
Just, I mean, or RobbyGrant.com. ROBBYGRANT.
Okay, that's good. That's very simple.
Yeah, it redirects to Bandcamp.
Yeah.
You can kind of see all the stuff I've worked on there.
Robby Grant, Executive Director of WYXR. Thanks for being here. We
done?
appreciate it. That's it. It's
Okay.
over. It's 28 minutes. That's all we got. Somebody else is
all right.
coming up
Yeah,
after me.
just paint.
That's all the time we have this week. If you missed any of the show, you can get the full episode at WYXR, at the Daily Memphian, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.